And welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the High Low Sports Podcast. We appreciate you all joining us here today. We didn't have an episode last week. We had some things going on, but we're glad to be back now as well, too. It's that perfect time of the year. The NFL season is about a quarter of the way through. College football starting to spice up a little bit. We got baseball in the midst of the playoffs, now in the divisional series. And, of course, what we'll be talking about today, NBA basketball season is right around the corner. It is DJ joined, as always, by my co-host, Kelsey. And Kelsey, we just kind of mentioned it's that great time of the year. There's a lot going on, but today we're going to say centered on the hardwood, and we got a lot to talk about today. It's that time of the year where we do a little bit of preseason predictions for awards, playoffs, seedings, and who that champion will be as well.
Yeah, we got a lot to get to. Unfortunately, I have this.
We got a little bit of stuff to get off your chest, though.
Horrendous puffy jacket that has this ugly red and black design on it for the state that, if you look at it close enough, it doesn't even look like it's spelled. It should be spelling a word. Obviously Auburn lost to Georgia, so my standing bet with my cousin, unfortunately, meant that I didn't get to wear this during the game. Thankfully, not that it helped anything, but now I have to wear it today during the show. So I'm gonna unzip it because it's super puffy and just kind of like I'm really sweating right now. But you know what? This is I gotta say, this is I'm a man of my word. I'm like the Targaryens. I always pay my debts, except for I don't pay him in blood. I just pay him in my own misery.
Well, you definitely, if we're paying in misery, you got Brinks trucks on standby. That is for sure as well. So, glad to keep that. What is that, like 5 years in a row, 6 years in a row?
Too many. It's last year that I got to not wear a Georgia something during an Auburn Georgia game was back before Auburn lost to UCF in the Peach Bowl.
The undefeated UCF.
Yeah, the Shaquille Griffin led UCF at the time.
The national champions, quote unquote, as they used to say.
Yeah, those guys.
Yeah, those guys, the worst fan base ever for like a 2-year stretch, it felt like as well, too. But besides that, now that we got your misery out of the way as well, too, we got a lot to talk about with the hardwood as well, too, today. The regular season just starting in about a week now as well, too. We're not going to touch too much on some of the other tomfoolery with basketball that's coming off the court as well, too. We'll touch on that a little bit, but there's a lot. We'll just say there's some stuff going on as well, too. There's fists flying, if you will. But it's interesting enough, too, when we come to these predictions, we had a pretty strong stretch there, too, where we were both doing pretty solid with that one as well, too. Last year, the DJ streak of picking the champion came to a rough and violent end, unfortunately. It ended at a three-peat since we basically started doing this. But we'll see if we can restart a new streak this year.
No, last year was rough for you, obviously, a little more so than me. I mean, mine was just terrible to begin with, so I just stopped caring at a certain point in time. So, I mean, I was done at that point in time. But yeah, it's it's going to be fun to see what we can predict this year. Obviously, this year is a lot more interesting because there's a couple of new faces and new places. You look at Donovan Mitchell and with the Cavs now. What's that going to do to the Eastern Conference? We're going to talk about that. And, you look at the Western Conference, Colin Sexton now leading the Jazz. Can the Jazz and this newly run Jazz team, can they maybe keep doing what they're doing? Or are we going to see a new team arise into that playoff mix for the Western Conference? And that's something we're going to talk about, too.
Rudy Gobert heading to the Timberwolves, too, from Utah, what's going on in Utah if it starts to come back as well, too. And then there's the Bulls as well, too. If Lonzo Ball can get healthy, there's a lot going on there. We got a nice comment saying recognizing the jacket, looking good as well, too. We'll take another moment, just relishing it a little bit.
By the way, it is reversible, so there is actually Georgia on the inside. So I guess next year I'm just going to wear it, and it's going to be red, and it's going to look atrocious. It's going to be.
I mean, right now when you lean forward, it kind of looks like a Bulls jacket, like a really old school Bulls jacket.
Yeah, I'm okay. Like I feel like this was a perfect color combination for today. At least, like I can at least get away with it. But yeah,
wear it in public.
No, I'm never gonna wear it outside the house. What? I might wear it when it's 0 degrees outside because it is that puffy.
Fair enough. We could go off. We can take a whole episode dedicated to just this as well, too. And we got a comment from a Facebook user before I get into that saying, "What do we think about the Knicks?" And I'll kind of give a spoiler alert. I don't think they're making the playoffs this year. I think they're kind of in that. They're in a fringe spot where they kind of need to reload a little bit, but they're not quite bad enough to fully tank, if that makes sense. They're stuck in that really weird spot. And I'm curious to see what Julius Randle can do because he had a great year a couple of years ago, kind of really established himself as that dude, most improved player. Last year hit the wall a little bit. Everything plummeted. So I'm curious to see if we get closer to 2 years ago or if that was the anomaly year. I got to see which one's the anomaly, if that makes sense. So The Knicks, there's a lot of TBD. That's why I kept them on the lower end of the Eastern Conference this year.
All right. Hey, I mean, I might be a little bit nicer to the Knicks this year. There might be some hope in Madison Square Garden, and if not just because I watched the 38 minutes to 38 points of insanity today, special on HBO Max, which by the way is fantastic. If you haven't watched it yet, go watch it. It was great to relive the Linsanity moments all over again in his 38 points in MSG. But there might be some hope there in New York, nonetheless.
So pretty much what you're telling me is we're getting old because they're making documentary about things I feel like they were just yesterday for us. So
I mean, they did just do the Redeem Team, and I literally remember every single moment of that happening in my lifetime.
100% as well too. It's before we go to it's before I have to grab a cane or something like that. Let's get into this. We're gonna start with the West because as the West tends to be the best in the NBA as well too. So we're gonna start predicting the Western Conference. We're gonna do basically our standing. We're gonna start with just going through the standings, who we think is making the playoffs and what seed. And Kelsey, I'll let you go ahead and lead the way. Tell us how you have the West shaken out.
Yeah, so the Western Conference for me, I'm going to go ahead and say this one is going to be a very not so changing Western Conference as we've seen in the past. It's you still have your favorite teams, you still have your least favorite teams. They don't really change too much, except for one team. I do think there's going to be one team that might surprise some people. And I'll just go ahead and start from the bottom, work my way up. Coming in at the 10th seed, the first loser in those play-in playoffs. Those New Orleans Pelicans. This time, hopefully Zion does play a whole season. We'll have to see how much you get out of him. But until you get a full season out of Zion guaranteed, I refuse to put you any higher than a play-in position. Because as much as I think that you can do it with Ingram, you need a lot more too. And Zion is that a lot more. And if he can play a whole season, you might get better than 10, but I don't see it really. That's a tough Western Conference still, even if Zion is healthy. But we'll have to wait and see with that. But that is a 10 seed for me. Like I said, losing the first play-in game, as this year they are doing the 10 seed, 9 seed, 8 seed, 7 seed in the play-in games. So if you guys didn't know, we're just not going to go through all that. We're just going to tell you who loses out of that. At number 9, losing the second play-in game, if you will, the Portland Trailblazers. I love this team. I love Dame Dollar. I love Dame Time. I can't do it right now. There's too many good teams in the West to put them over anybody. They haven't. I bit off more than I could chew with the Blazers last year. And I predicted they would do a lot better. And unfortunately, that did not come to fruition. So shame on me. That's for sure. At number 8 is that team we mentioned a little bit ago, getting Rudy Gobert in the offseason. Anthony Edwards is still looking fantastic. Hopefully stays healthy. That's going to be the Timberwolves. I have them going at 8 right here and getting that 8 seed going into the playoffs. I do think they can easily get there. I do think injuries will play a part in their season. I also think Anthony Edwards, we're going to see plateau very quickly in this season. I don't think we're going to keep seeing the ascension you're used to seeing. But I will say he's still good enough if he plateaus now that he can lead this team to a playoff berth. Like, it's not like it's like, oh, no, he plateaued and he's still averaging 24 points a game. That's not a terrible thing, guys. In the new NBA, that is a fantastic thing. Like, you'll take what you can get. And now I do get this fun comment. Watch out for those Pelicans. It will be interesting. Yeah, we'll wait and see about the Pelicans. We'll calm down. We'll calm down about the Pelicans until I get to see a full Zion. And I don't mean a full Zion at a buffet. And anyway, so yeah, number 8, it's the Timberwolves. Number 7, we talked about the offseason issues. That's a big part of why I have them here. I don't know if Draymond stays with this team the whole season. I got the Golden State Warriors. Coming off a championship, you'd think, well, hey, maybe they're gonna capture some of that momentum. Dude, that's bad. Everything I've seen, everything I've seen people say, even NBA ex-pros are saying it. That doesn't happen in a cohesive locker room, ever. And so if Draymond stays on the team, how cohesive can that team stay forward? Jordan Poole is your up and coming player. Do you keep him? Do you keep Draymond? Who do you choose between the two? You've proven in the past you choose Draymond. Do you continue that path despite him choosing this? Yeah, I mean, honestly, spoiler alert, probably not. And there's no better coach to handle this situation, I will say, ironically, than Steve Kerr, because he notoriously got squared up on by MJ. Granted, not in the same situation, but still got punched in the face by MJ. So he does understand getting punched in the face by your teammate. But yeah, so give me the Warriors at 7 there, making the playoffs as well. Number 6, the team they faced last year and got probably one injury away from advancing past the Warriors. The Memphis Grizzlies, they look young and fantastic still. I'm going to stand by the fact that, as John Morant continues to progress and shoot threes, he's going to continue to get better, and we're in for a highlight show. My worry, though, is we're going to see the Derrick Rose effect. After a knee ankle injury, it slows down. He becomes more human. He has to learn how to play human, and that worries me a little bit. That's why I have him at 6 and not higher. Some people have him at like a 2 seed, 3 seed, and I respect that. I get it. Just personally, I don't trust it enough yet. I want to see how he can progress, because that's as a person who's experienced knee injuries, that always sits in the back of your head that you've had one before. Like, what happens if it happens again? Like, it always sits in the back of your head. So I do think we'll see a change in Ja Morant in the way he plays. And now, if he continues to shoot the way he was shooting in the playoffs last year, I'm not worried at a bit. And honestly, they probably progress a lot. They end up as a 4 seed or higher. But again, like the Pelicans, I'll say we'll wait and see with that situation. At number 5, another team going through all sorts of offseason issues. Might even be sold. Might end up in Seattle by the time we do this episode next year. Who knows? I honestly doubt that'll actually happen, but just humor me. The Phoenix Suns here in this situation, I have with the 5 seed. They still have all the talent. They still have Devin Booker, who, from all reports in preseason camp, looks fantastic. You still have Chris Paul. Need I say more? Like, he may not be the point guard of old because he keeps getting injured, but you know what? He is still point guard adjacent, which is still a lot better than 20 other point guards in this league. So give me the Suns at 5 here. I don't think I'd really need to say much more about them. I do think they have growing weapons in Cam Johnson that are just going to be absolutely fantastic. Bridges to continue his ascension. Give me the Suns at 5. At number 4, I've dissed this team too many years in the past. I've dissed this point guard / forward too many times in the past, and I'm here to I'm tail between my legs. I'm gonna admit I was wrong multiple times about you. I'm gonna say Luka Doncic and the Mavericks finishes 4th, and honestly, I could probably see them finishing higher. This is just like the Western Conference always is. 1 through 4 separated by 1.5 games is what I have predicted, and it's that close. So, but they just fall on the edge of that. They still have home court advantage in the first round. So give me the Mavericks here. Luka is magical. Spencer Dinwiddie. I'm still excited that he's a 6th man for that team. They have all the pieces in part, and they're healthy now, so they'll actually have somebody to help out Luka. Give them a chance. Luka's just ascending right now, and we're just gonna. This is like a lot like Giannis right now. I feel like we're just gonna sit back and watch in awe, and just, you know what? I'm not gonna complain about anything I see on my TV anymore from Luka or from Giannis. That's just what's gonna happen from now on.
It's fitting that you have I'm sorry, Luka on the same day you're wearing a Georgia shirt as well, too. Just a culmination of your sports mistakes all coming together in one.
Yeah, we're not gonna harp on the Georgia jacket right now.
The Bulls jacket from here, and you lean back, and then it's a Georgia jacket. All right, go ahead and continue.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, if you actually look close, you might even think it's like a 49ers jacket, and that's just a whole nother conversation. Anyways, number 3, I have the Lakers, because I don't know if Draymond's going to end up a Laker or not, but I'm probably going to end up a Laker. And if he ends up a Laker, crap. Because that means Anthony Davis doesn't have to play center like he doesn't want to. And that's scary for the whole league. Because Anthony Davis gets to play a 4, and when healthy, playing a 4, man, good luck, everybody else. Draymond has an undersized 5 that can play as a point guard. Okay, LeBron, you're going to play off ball with Draymond dishing you passes. You love that in the All-Star games. You're going to love it in the regular season. We'll see what else they can do, but I do think there's some questions early on in the season, but I think midseason and beyond, the Lakers are going to flip the switch like we always see with LeBron, and he's going to make another playoff run like he always does, and you're just going to be like, oh, wow. Yeah, LeBron's still that dude at 40 years old. Is he 39 years old? Like, crap. So yeah, give me the Lakers at 3. At 2, I got the LA Clippers, the other Lakers team. Everybody comes back healthy. I don't need to say like much more about the Clippers. They are finally healthy for the first time in 3 years. It's going to be fun to watch that, because we've been waiting to see what a fully healthy Paul George and a fully healthy Kawhi Leonard can do on a court together. And I don't I don't see a reason why they shouldn't. And by the way, let's not forget a sneaky little guy in there by the name of John Wall. And he might actually play basketball this season for this team. If he actually plays basketball and steps foot on a court, let's not forget this dude was the original ankle assassin in the new era of basketball. Like before any one of these dudes came out other than Derrick Rose. Like it was Derrick Rose and then it was John Wall. Let's not forget.
I mean, they wrote a song about him while he was at Kentucky, so.
Yeah. Look, Reebok made shoes for just him after they went out of business for 7 years for a reason, because they could just keep that one brand in line for just him. So, yeah, give me the Clippers here at number 2. I just think all the weapons in the world, which means number 1, a new precedent for them seeing a number 1 seed next to their name. I don't know if Denver fans are going to be able to understand what that means. They'll probably lose their minds and overblow this because it's a prediction. But, yeah, give me the Nuggets at 1. They finally strike gold, if you will, and finally could put it together with a completely healthy roster. We get to see Jamal Murray back and healthy in a full season after he's had a full offseason to prepare, not just a very limited offseason. It'll be very interesting to see with this team. There were a lot of pieces that were growing at the end of the last season. We always know Nikola Jokic is going to be a potential MVP candidate from day one, so you don't have to worry about him. My biggest concern is going to be when you get to that second unit, who's going to be the one on the court that can carry the team while Nikola Jokic is taking a break, because there's no way that man plays 40-plus minutes a game again. So give him a chance to breathe. Who's going to be the guy that steps up for you while he's gone? Because Jamal Murray obviously probably won't be that guy because of his knees. And then MPJ, is it going to be somebody else stepping up? Is Will Barton? Who knows? But yeah, that's my 1 seed there with the Nuggets. And just to recap from bottom to top: 10 seed Pelicans, 9 seed Blazers, 8 seed the Timberwolves, 7 seed Warriors, 6 seed Grizzlies, 5 seed the Suns, 4 seed Mavericks, 3 seed Lakers, the 2 seed Clippers, and taking number 1 in the West is the Nuggets.
All right, I like it. We do have some similarities in there, a lot of similar teams. So I'll try and mix it up a little bit here as well too. But I'm going to go ahead and start here at number 10. And number 10, I'm going with the Portland Trail Blazers as well too. I think I like Damian Lillard, but there is nothing else there. Like what else do you pick from at that point as well too? So I'm going to go
Jeremy
with
Grant.
we'll see. So we'll see about that. That cupboard just feels barren, I guess, compared to even previous years where you had like CJ McCollum and that sort of thing. There felt like there's something else that you can kind of bank on a little bit if Dame has an off night. Now it feels like he's got to have that Game 5 against the Nuggets a couple years ago in the playoff bubble where he had 55 on like 58% shooting in order to have a chance. So give me the Trailblazers at the 10 seed as well too. Number 9, I'm going to go with the Minnesota Timberwolves. I kind of like the Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns dynamic, like the two towers, but like we kind of saw Rudy Gobert in space could be a little bit shaky, I guess, if that makes sense against those small ball lineups. Karl Anthony Towns can move a little bit. I like him as a power forward, but that's 2 guys you really don't want in space necessarily. Like Karl Anthony Towns I want him as my small ball center, not my big ball power forward, but I want him to be accompanied by a center that can also move, like a Draymond actually would be a perfect complement for him. But I'm worried about their spacing. Anthony Edwards, I think, is going to continue to ascend. D'Angelo Williams will wait and see. And I don't want to underestimate the loss of Patrick Beverley, too. For as limited as he is, he does add a little bit of dog and a lot of defense that you could put side by side with D'Lo and those guys as well, too. So give me the Timberwolves at the 9 seed. Now at the number 8 seed, I'm going to go with those New Orleans Pelicans. You mentioned Zion. He's got to play at least. He's got to play. Just in general as well, too. I do like the pictures where he looks less like he's been at the buffet. He looks a little more clean, a little more ripped. Still looks like he's throwing down, dunking again. I like Brandon Ingram a lot. I do like that they re-signed CJ McCollum, too. I think he gives them that veteran outside presence to complement, too. If they had a point guard I felt more comfortable with, I think that would I might even have them a little bit higher. But their point guard situation, it's going to be kind of ironic, but I kind of wish they still had Lonzo Ball there. I think that would really kind of bring the whole thing together. If they could just keep all the pieces they took from the Lakers, that would have been great. So give me the Pelicans at number 8. And number 7, I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Lakers. I agree with you. I think LeBron still is going to prove he's that dude. I'm concerned about Anthony Davis staying healthy. I really am. And we'll wait and see if Draymond ends up in Los Angeles. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he wants to go to LA. Him and LeBron are best bros now, it seems like. So we'll see how that one goes. But
Do one episode of The Shop and they're bros.
Exactly. I mean, they're going to weddings. They're doing the Antonio Brown dance together now, and now Draymond's punching teammates, trying to get traded. Anything could happen, but I'm going to put them at 7 right now, just because I need to see more of it to believe. I need LeBron to be able to stay healthy and play more games. I know he averaged 30, but he also played, what was it, like 35 games? It felt like 40 games. Anthony Davis has to play more than one time a week. Like he has to be out there. The Russell Westbrook experiment. What? I have no idea. Yeah. And a brand new rookie head coach as well. There's no shooting. There's too many question marks. But because of the top-notch star power of LeBron, Anthony Davis squad, I have him at the 7th seed with a good chance to climb if they stay healthy. Number 6, speaking of Draymond punching teammates, give me the Golden State Warriors. I saw a weird thing on this one of the sports shows the other day. You go down their roster, there's probably 9 guys on there you expect that might actually be better this year than they were last year. You look at like Kuminga, Jordan Poole, just go Andrew Wiggins, all those guys, you can go down the list. You expect all of them to be better, but I think the Golden State Warriors as a whole are going to have a worse year because, well, I mean, it's hard to win a title back-to-back years. I do think that Draymond and Jordan Poole thing is going to – the fact that he's not even getting suspended and he's going to be back before the preseason even ends, I feel like there's going to be a little bit of fluctuating tension that even no matter what, I mean, I just can't imagine they're going to just basically throw it away and it's going to be gone. It's going to be lingering there for a while, especially when you got to extend one of them, either Poole or Draymond. So that's going to be.
Who do you choose?
I'm picking Jordan Poole. I'm not thinking twice about it at this point. Too, Draymond's more trouble than he is worth at this point. Like that.
Yeah.
I know he plays defense. I know he has like all those intangible things, but like he even admitting to being shook in the guard when they were playing Boston last year in Game 4 up into for the first 3 games until Steph Curry basically took it upon himself to get the crowd riled up at him to take all the pressure off him. Like, what does he offer at that point? Like quadruple singles. Obviously, he's an NBA player. He's still a really good defender. Not the greatest defender of all time, like he'd try and tell you is, but a really good defender, fantastic defender. But he contributes a little offensively, turns the ball over. Now we could spend the rest of the episode counting incidents he's found himself in that has affected the team. So give me the Golden State Warriors at 6. Because I think Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Jordan Poole are going to be dynamic. I think Klay Thompson being healthy, Steph is still Steph. And I think Jordan Poole is going to bounce back from this as well, too. I don't think he's going to flounder from it. He's going to earn that extension with it. Number 5, speaking of turmoil, we're going to stick to the same thing. I got the Phoenix Suns here at number 5. You still got Chris Paul, who in the regular season point guard when he's able to play. Devin Booker is still a top 15 to 10 caliber player as well, too. A first-team All-NBA caliber shooting guard on his good nights who can get buckets. DeAndre Ayton, who is not happy to be there whatsoever by the looks of it, but if he plays and he tries, he'll still be. You got Mikal Bridges, you got Monty Williams as a coach. There's still a lot there. I wouldn't be surprised if DeAndre Ayton gets moved by the trade deadline, maybe for like Miles Turner in Indiana, something like that. Since Indiana tried to sign him, who knows? The weird things happen in the NBA. But
hear me out. DeAndre Ayton for Draymond Green.
That's great for the Warriors. I don't. That's you know what?
Chris Paul would lose his ever-loving mind. He'd be like, "No, I quit. Get me out of here. Send me to LA."
Exactly. Yeah,
I'll punch Draymond to get to LA.
Whatever it takes at that point. But give me the Suns at 5. I think they're still gonna be really good. I think there's a little bit of distractions, which will keep them from being a top 1, 2, 3 seed, but they'll still be fine. Number 4, I got the Memphis Grizzlies. A lot like you, I am curious to see how John Morant's able to bounce back from those injuries. But I do think the way they're built, they're such a young team that is so locked in on the defensive side of the ball. I think they're still going to be good in the regular season to get one of those top 3 to 4 seeds. I don't think they'll be the 2 seed. I don't think they'll run through people quite the same. But still I'm still going to take the Grizzlies at number 4. John Morant, even if he's 85 to 90% of what he was last year, that's still plenty to get you up there as well, too. You still got Bane. You still got Jaren Jackson, when he's not shooting 7 threes a game. You still got a lot of weapons out there. So give me the Grizzlies at 4. Number 3, give me the Los Angeles Clippers. You mentioned finally healthy. Last year I thought they'd be healthy. That was not the case. Last year I thought if they were healthy, they would have been really good. They couldn't get healthy. They still almost made the play-in, but even with nobody playing. But give me the Clippers. John Wall looks like he's going to be the 6th man. You're telling me John Wall is going to be your 6th man? Sign me up. That's a good team. The only reason they're not higher is because I think we're still going to see some load management. So, you know what? Give me the Clippers at 3. Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, John Wall, Tyronn Lue coaching, a deep bench. It's a really good squad. Number 2, at a team I have them similar to the Grizzlies. I think they're just going to be really good in the regular season because of the horses they have. I got the Dallas Mavericks led by Luka Doncic. I think Luka's still going to be Luka. He's still going to be incredible. But looking at the roster, they still got guys like Dwight Powell, Frank Ntilikina. They still got some pretty decent role players, Dorian Finney-Smith, Spencer Dinwiddie, Reggie Bullock, guys that you kind of surround with Luka. And the big addition of Christian Wood, I think he's going to take even a next step in his game this year as well, too. It does hurt to lose Jalen Brunson a little bit, but I think they'll be fine. You kind of mentioned we're kind of watching Luka just ascend into a potential all-time great player right now, and I think this is just like another. Remember the LeBron-led Cavaliers teams where they just so amazing in the regular season, but when playoff time came, it was a little shaky because
they'll get to the conference finals and then they're gonna get bounced probably.
There's only so much you could do when your second best player is Bo Williams and Zydrunas Ilgauskas and guys like that. Like they're good, but when you're going against some of these other teams, they're limited, but they still won 66 games in back-to-back years. I see the Mavericks in a similar build to that right now, where Luka and some of those other pretty good pieces will get you there, but they're limited on their ceiling. And then number one, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I have the Denver Nuggets just like you. Nikola Jokic is going to do the exact same thing. He's going to stuff the stat sheet. Everyone's going to say he should be MVP because of advanced numbers. He's going to be really good. Michael Porter Jr., if he could stay healthy, is going to be a nice piece. I think Jamal Murray coming back is going to help a lot just because at any given moment, he can go and get you 30, 40, 50 as he has shown the ability to. And it gives you that second option as well. I think Aaron Gordon will be a little bit less reckless not reckless, but he'll be a little more viable this year than he was last year. DeAndre Jordan is a backup as well, too. That gives you a little, if you want to go two towers with him and Jokic, just so you have more rim protection, too. There's a little more versatility. Ish Smith coming off the bench as well. I really like this roster, and it's been a really good roster the last couple of years. I think this year they'll be healthy and able to get something rolling. So going through my list one more time, I got the Denver Nuggets at 1 in the West, the Dallas Mavericks at number 2, the Los Angeles Clippers at number 3, the Memphis Grizzlies at 4, the Phoenix Suns at 5, the Golden State Warriors at 6, the Los Angeles Lakers at 7, and the New Orleans Pelicans sneaking in at number 8 as well, too. So that is my Western Conference predictions.
Very interesting. I like it. That's it'll be very interesting to see. I gotta say, I don't know. This Western Conference that's always going to be competitive, but I do think it's interesting to see preseason what our thoughts are, and then obviously how it's going to shape up. I always feel like there's still the same 6 teams that we're like, all right, well, they're going to be there.
We just don't know where.
They're just in a different order this year than they normally are.
Exactly. And before we head off into our Eastern Conference predictions, we do want to take a quick moment to say a big thank you to our sponsors over at Manscaped as well. If you don't know, well, I don't know where you've been, but Manscaped is the premier company in men's grooming and hygiene products as well, too. They recently have joined up with us. You can use code HILOSPORTS at checkout for 20% off as well, too, just in time for the holidays. And Kelsey, we've been fortunate enough to try out a few of their products as well, too. And we have a couple we want to highlight. Now, I'll let you go and go first.
Yeah, so I mentioned I'm sweating and dying in this jacket. And I got to say, I've been using this crop preserver. If you guys have not checked this stuff out, as men, big men especially, we have an issue with something called swamp ass. Really, if you live down south, you understand what swamp ass is, and you get it as well. Or if you just live in a hot, if you've ever lived in a hot climate ever, you understand swamp ass. Look, crop preserver, all it is, you put it on after you get yourself all nice and dry. Put it on anti-chafing. So those days of baby powder being all over your bathroom, getting ready to go out, over. I have not had baby powder all over my bathroom since I started to use this. I love it to death. And I get through to the day, I'm like, man, this was great. I'm walking around, taking my dog out, sitting here on my, working all day, start to sweat as I normally do, sitting in a puffy jacket, no issues. Can't complain. And then at the end of the day, you're like, all right, well, I need a little refresher. What do I do here? Well, we got this cool little spray, Crop Reviver, right here. All you do, take it to the bathroom. So you do your thing, and then you just squirt, just like mouthwash or mouth spray for your mouth, freshen your breath. Same concept. Freshen downstairs, make you nice, clean smelling. Don't smell any funkiness. Get through the day. Look, it can go 14 hours, however long you need to get through your day. But that little refresher, man, it helps a lot. I gotta say, I've been loving this stuff since we got Manscaped. Life-saving because I don't no longer have to have a small investment tied into baby powder right now. I got to say, this has been absolutely fantastic as a big guy.
Absolutely as well, too. I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to highlight the Weed Whacker as well, too, to have a look at it right here as well. Nose hair, you don't really think about it a whole lot until you get really close to somebody, or you take a look at a picture after you take, and you just have like that one little anaconda hair stragging down as well too.
No, I'm just kidding.
Especially someone that has like facial hair like I do as well too. So sometimes it gets a little bit dangling. You don't really see it. Those are the worst things, especially if you're getting close with that special someone as well too. Once you get that close, it's hard to unlock. So with the weed whacker, it allows me to simply go. You can hear it going, bam, bam, clean nose hairs as well. Doesn't pinch, doesn't cut, doesn't do anything as well too. And it's good for stubborn ear hair as well for people who have those ear hairs that grow out really long as well too, especially the clear ones you can't see. Everything you need for the underrated parts of grooming as well too. So I highly recommend giving the weed whacker a try and grabbing a little bit of that spray as well too that you mentioned as well. Get yourself looking your best before you got on a night with the time with that special someone as well too. And before you do that, use code HILOSports at checkout. Save yourself 20% off at manscaped.com as well too. And remember, you gotta always take care of your pair.
That's the best way I could have ever ended that. I love that ending. Thank you. No, like I gotta say, this is like there's so many more products if those aren't ones you guys are interested in as well. So definitely check it out, manscaped.com. High-low sports. And yeah, DJ, I mean, that's a perfect ending. Just, I can do better, man.
Well, that's good. We're going to go from that. And now we're going to transition into our Eastern Conference picks as well, too. So far, it's been the best have been in the West and the least have been in the East. Well, I think you can make a case that it's kind of changed differently in recent years. The East has gotten really competitive the last couple of years. So I'm going to let you go and go first. How do you have the Eastern Conference shaping out?
Yeah, so Eastern Conference this time. Let me go ahead and flip this screen around so I can see what I have in my Eastern Conference. We're going to go from bottom to top. And with the news coming out recently that obviously LaMelo is going to miss some of the beginning of the season with yet another injury to his leg. Again, leg injuries, worry about them. They don't go away, especially in taller people. LaMelo is that. So give me the Hornets at number 10, first team out. They're going to make it into the play-in game, and they're going to lose just as fast again. It's just unfortunate there. There's some more problems there in Charlotte that I could talk about, but there are some legal issues, so we're going to leave those ones alone for right now. That might also impact their season because we'll have to wait and see how that whole thing with Bridges pans out. At number 9, the Knicks in New York. As I said, I have the Knicks getting some hope, at least making the playoffs. They make the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. They just lose in the play-in game. In the second one. Sorry.
You gave them some hope there, like you were throwing back in the Eastern Conference, and then just to kind of be the 9th seed, a little anticlimactic.
Hey, you get some cool Obi Toppin East Bay highlights again, so that's fine. Like at least take some good with it. Like you can at least say you went to another playoff game since 2000. So my congratulations. Yeah. So number 8 though, I have those pesky little Atlanta Hawks. Man, they just seemingly always around. You don't know whether they're going to be great or whether they're going to be bad. Yeah, I feel like this season they're going to have a little bit more lows than they have highs. But I've also been proven wrong, so they could be completely fantastic this season and end up like a top 5 seed. But I do think they're going to end up an 8 seed here in Atlanta. And it's going to be a comfortable 8 seed. Like they're going to be the 8 seed going into the play-in tournament, and they're going to easily walk away with the 8 seed as well. They're not going to just like progress or degress or anything like that. The Hawks firmly in the playoffs, like it had been the old playoffs at this point in time. Number 7, give me the Miami Heat. I love everything that they're doing in Miami. I'm probably a little low on them than most people. Just they've let me down so many times. But at the end of the day, Eric Spoelstra is still Eric Spoelstra. He's gonna know. I'd say probably your best coach in the NBA today. And most people be like, "Oh, what about Doc? What about this? What about that?" Yeah, I don't care. Eric Spoelstra's. You know what? He's the guy that, in my eyes, I think he does the best coaching job from start to finish with a team, and he's done more with less teams. So to me, that is more impressive with me. And I think the Heat, they're probably going to go through some injury woes as they normally do because for some reason the Heat can never stay healthy. It feels like it runs through the Heat franchise. Like outside of those 5 years with Dwayne Wade and LeBron. Really, which we only saw 4 good years of, really 3 good years of.
Really, 2.
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, yeah, because of the Chris Bosh situation. So, give me the Heat, though, at the 7 seed, making it pretty comfortable there at the 7 seed. But, yeah, they're going to be at 17. Unfortunately, they have to go through the playoff play-in bullcrap, but they're going to be just fine. But now the number 6 seed, kind of a surprise considering where most people probably would ever have them ranked. But give me a guy with multiple playoff and top 3 seed playoff experience in the West, moving to the East, along with that young dynamic team that's already there, along with some wily veterans that know how to score. I'm gonna go with the Cavs at number 6. Honestly, they probably could get higher, but I'm gonna go with the Cavs here at number 6. I'm playing a little bit coy here, like, yeah, they're gonna be good, but are they gonna be that good? There's a lot of good teams still to go in the East. Like, let's not kid ourselves here. They're going to be a great team, and they're going to finish well above 500. I'm not worried about that. I do think they're going to be good here at the 6th seed. Might surprise some people with a run here in the playoffs, but yeah, give me the 6th seed is going to be the Cavs. The 5 seed, falling down the standings a little bit from where they have been the last couple seasons. I have the Bucks, Milwaukee Bucks here at the 5 seed. Nothing against them, just eventually somebody's going to figure out Giannis. And I think this is the season that we start seeing teams in the regular season start to figure out Giannis. A mix between that and they're going to start resting Giannis, giving him the timed days off. And I don't know if the team can still withhold without Giannis in the roster still. I still will forever have that question about the Bucks because Giannis is so Giannis. He's just so above and beyond anything normal. That without him in the roster, how do you go back to playing normal after that? I don't know if you can really without like a revamp. And number 4, give me the Chicago Bulls. I think the Chicago Bulls team, I think they have all the pieces. And again, talk about a team that just got bit by the injury bug down the stretch last year. I mean, they looked good, and then just injuries decimated that team. And I think again, you run it back, injuries, withholding. Like, as long as they stay away, I don't see any reason this Bulls team can't have a home court advantage going in the playoffs for that first round at least. So, yeah, give me the Bulls here at number 4. Number 3, the reigning Eastern Conference champions by a toe, the Boston Celtics in this one. And this one is down to their head coaching. I would honestly have put them number 1, period. But you lose your head coach for a year and all the things that surround that. And everything that is involved with that situation from top to bottom in the organization, that does cause some discourse, just like the Warriors. Now, do they fall as bad as the Warriors do? No, because I think the heads on the court are sane enough. But I do think there's still some discourse involved here, and you lose head coaching, and in the Eastern Conference, I feel like coaches in the Eastern Conference are better, so you'll lose a lot more close games in the East than you would against Western Conference teams. And that's why they're going to be a little bit lower here in the Eastern Conference standings than if they were maybe in the West. Because unfortunately in the West, you pretty much have to coach against LeBron. And that's about it. Number 2, give me the Sixers. I think this Sixers team, look, I was proven wrong with Joel Embiid not having to carry the team at one point in time last year. Somehow that team rallied around and made it work with him not having to carry him. Now, then he got the playoffs. You had to carry him. I do think this year is going to be a different story. I think we're going to see the guys that need to step up. And James Harden doesn't look like Fat Harden anymore. He doesn't look like somebody gave him a pardon for the buffet this last year. Like, he actually looks like a dude that put in the work, that put in the offseason effort to try to stay in shape and try to get ready for this next season. And he looks like the guy that learned how to play in the new rules. Last year, he looked lost into the new rules. Like, he just didn't look like he could play his game. And this year, going into the season, it looks like he's OKC James Harden more so than even Rockets James Harden, which is if we can get OKC James Harden again, I'm going to say, just like I said last year, this Sixers team is going to be deadly. That's just how it is going to be. And I see we're going to get a lot more of that than we're going to get that, I'm just driving to get fouls type of James Harden. And so at number 1, though, if you guys have been counting, that means I have those guys, those dudes from across the water, or actually, I don't know, whatever borough you're from. Anyways, it's the Brooklyn Nets. It's just the Nets. I don't think I need to say much more. The star power on this team alone can carry itself to a 60 wins if they wanted to. It's a matter of if they want to. I think at the end of the day, like, does Kyrie want to suit up? Does KD want to play like he's the all-world athlete that he is? Like, he is the number 2 player in the world, or number 1 player in the world, like he wants to be. Does Ben Simmons ever suit up? Like, if those things happen, then game over. Like, I'm sorry, nobody's going to be able to compete with him because you have the best defensive guard forward in the world and Ben Simmons. Hey, I'm sorry, like when he's playing his mind, like defensive player of the year, hands down when he's playing his best.
Should
You
have
have
been
one of the best.
player.
Yeah, should have been defensive player of the year. One of the top 2 players in the world at any given time he's on the court, and has been so for the last 10 years, and he honestly will probably continue for the next 5 to 7 years. And then one of the best on-ball guards we have ever seen in the league, as far as dribbling, handle, his passing, vision, you name it, scoring. He can do it all. If they can put that all together, I don't see why this team can't be that. So give me the Nets at number 1. And that's going to, just to recap from bottom to top, in the Eastern Conference, I have the Charlotte Hornets at number 10, New York Knicks at number 9, Atlanta Hawks at number 8, Miami Heat at number 7, Cleveland Cavaliers at number 6, Milwaukee Bucks at 5, Chicago Bulls at 4, Celtics at the 3 seed, Sixers at the 2 seed, and those Brooklyn Nets at the 1 seed.
All right. Interesting. A little bit of a shakeup here. And our East will be a little bit different here as well, too. I'll get cruising through mine. Number 10, I have the Washington Wizards. I like Wes Unseld as the coach. Bradley Beal re-signing for the bag there shows he's committed to staying there, whether it is for the money or whatever the reason is. Point is he's staying there, so there's no talk about him getting traded or leaving. They're building. They got a ways to go still, but I think the East, I think he's good enough with their coaching to get them into that play-in tournament. They're not going to go very far, though, so give me them at 10. Number 9, I got the Toronto Raptors, basically the first team out, just outside. Toronto's like the kind of the antithesis of what you're saying with the Celtics. They can only go so far because they have great coaching. The players on the court, Fred VanVleet is really nice, but he's still a 5'8" guard. Pascal has been pretty good, but he hasn't quite lived up to the billing after Kawhi left they were hoping for. They have some nice pieces. They overachieved last year because of outstanding coaching. Nick Nurse should be considered a top 5 to 8 coach in the game. But I think this year, with some of the other teams getting healthier and ascending, they're going to find themselves kind of stuck in that 9 spot. Number 8, I got the Atlanta Hawks, a team that vehemently let me down with my regular season prediction last year. I think they kind of figured out a little bit. I think either they trade John Collins to get something for him, or John Collins starts playing like the John Collins who got paid, because last year was a very rough year for him. Trae Young, I think, gets a little bit more of a groove offensively. Give me the Hawks at the 8 seed. Number 7, I had the Chicago Bulls, and I agree with you that I would have them higher if Lonzo Ball was healthy, but there's still issues with that knee. Just recently said he was having trouble walking. There's just some concerns I have with that as well, too. Like, the talent is there, but I have too many questions with them. But I think at number 7 with the talent, they'll be really good. And if you get Lonzo Ball back before like the end of the fiscal year by like January-ish, I think that could really help them ascend, just having that point guard to go with the Zach LaVines of the world and that sort of team. So give me the Bulls at number 7. At number 6, I have the Boston Celtics. I do think Ime Udoka's not only the issues with him off the court, but kind of that mentality he brings as a defensive coach they're going to miss as well, too. We saw what they were with Brad Stevens. We saw what they were with Udoka. Both good teams, but different fitting teams that maximize the pieces a little bit differently. We don't have any idea with the substitute coach. I think it's Mazzulla's his name. We'll have to see what he brings. So I think that there's just so much. It's similar to the Warriors. There's just kind of so much going around. We don't know what to expect. So I'm going to basically split it at about number 6. I think there's a lot of talent there, but at the same time, I wonder if they capped last year as well, too, because some things did bounce their way last year that helped them get there as well, too. So curious to see how that plays out as well. Kind of similar to what the Bengals had last year getting to the Super Bowl. They played great, but a lot of things went their way on top of it. At number 5, I have the Philadelphia Sixers, who you were very high on. I like a lot of the pieces. I think Joel Embiid is a top 5, 6-ish player in the game when he's on. James Harden, I think, could be a very, very good quote-unquote Robin. I need to see it is my only thing. You mentioned James Harden so far. Looks like he's adapted to the new rules. I just want to see it in the games. I want to see it when they're tight games against good teams when the spotlight's on. Like, I want to see him when he needs a bucket to put on the moves, not put on the get fouls. I need to see Joel Embiid not fade away from the basket so much. I know you can be a 7'2" Kobe with your fadeaway, but you don't need to do it as often as you do. I need you to get down low and whoop up on 99% of centers who have absolutely no business being in the paint with you. And trading away the Seth Currys and some of those guys as well, too. I need to see them replay some of that three-point shooting. I like Tyrese Maxwell, Tybalt. They have plenty of pieces. I just need to see it come together, I guess, as well. Number 4, I have the Miami Heat for the exact opposite reason, because everything is kind of together there. They just have to stay healthy. Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo. I think they re-signed Tyler Hero as well, too. They got Victor Oladipo coming back again as well, too. Hopefully actually getting some minutes as well. There's Theirs is the cohesion, and then you mentioned Eric Spoelstra as the coach, so I like a lot of what they have. So I'll put them at the 4 seed. Number 3, I have the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm a little bit higher on them than you are, simply because I look at the front line with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. Another year playing together, the ability to the opposite of the Timberwolves. They can guard a small ball lineup because Evan Mobley is just a giant small forward. It's almost similar to Kevin Garnett when he was with the Timberwolves, where he's listed as a small forward at one point, even though we all knew darn well he wasn't. Where Evan Mobley his range defensively gives you that ability. Darius Garland, I think, is going to continue that ascension. And I think of course, Donovan Mitchell, with a top 10 to 15 player in the game, adding him takes a lot of pressure off of Darius Garland, who's now you can't really key in on him because then Donovan Mitchell gets you for 50, like he would do in Utah. And now this is the best offensive cast Donovan Mitchell's had in his NBA career, hands down. Defensively, it's on par with some of those Utah teams as well, too. Oh, and then Isaac Okoro, small forward, I think is just your 3 and maybe you're just your D and occasional 3 guy. I think that makes him a little more comfortable in that role. Still got guys like Lauri Markkanen who get 7-foot. Look how big their lineups can get. They can get some absolutely freakish lineups with Lauri Markkanen, a 6'10" 3-point shooter, a small forward. By the way, the 2 guys probably competing for 6th man of the year, Karis LeVert and Kevin Love coming off your bench too. And there's still Ricky Rubio who could substitute in as a guard. It's a very deep and a very young team, which means I think a lot of their guys, barring injury, are going to play a lot in the regular season. So give me the 3 seed for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Number 2, I got the Brooklyn Nets. There's a lot of questions, but at the same time, it looks like all those guys are going to play. That's just, even if they're a completely discombobbled mess, that's still a lot of star power to deal with. Like, that's a very dangerous mess nonetheless. Number 1, I got the Milwaukee Bucks. I think Giannis is the best player in the world right now. I think he's on an incredible ascension still. He is still a relatively young guy too. And I think they're going to be healthier this year as well too. Brook Lopez being healthy, Middleton being healthy. They were very dangerous. If Middleton doesn't go down last year, they might have been in the finals of last year as well too. I mean, they were a Herculean performance from Jason Tatum in Game 7 away. And that was with just Giannis by himself. So I think that is still a dangerous team. So just to recap my East predictions really quick. At 10 seed, I got the Washington Wizards. At 9, I got the Toronto Raptors. At 8, I got the Atlanta Hawks. At 7, the Chicago Bulls. At 6, the Boston Celtics. At 5, the 76ers. At 4, the Miami Heat. At 3, the Cleveland Cavaliers. At 2, the Brooklyn Nets. And at 1, we have the Milwaukee Bucks. So that's how I have the East shaken out now. We'll kind of coast through the playoffs here pretty quickly because I know we want to talk awards and get to the final. So, Kelsey, who do you have advancing out of round 1? We'll go and do West and the East.
Yeah, so for the West, I'm going to go ahead and knock out round 1. My matchups are Nuggets, Wolves, 1 versus 8. I have the Nuggets advancing. Mavs, Suns in the 4 versus 5 matchup. That is going to be the Mavs I have advancing there. Lakers, Grizzly in the 3-6 matchup. Lakers advance out of that one. And in the, oh goodness, I can never remember this one, 2-7 matchup. Clippers, Warriors, I have the Clippers advancing there. So Nuggets, Mavs, Lakers, Clippers advance out of the West. And in the East, I have Nets, Hawks. Nets advance there. Bulls, Bucks. Bulls advance for me there. And Celtics, Cavs. Cavs advance. Sixers, Heat. Sixers. So recapping who I have advancing. In the West, Nuggets, Mavs, Lakers, Clippers. In the East, Nets, Bulls, Cavs, Sixers.
Okay. All right. Looks good. Sounds pretty good there. So I'll go and go through mine here relatively quickly as well, too. Just like you, Denver Nuggets, I have them playing the Pelicans. I think they win that one comfortably as well, too. The Mavericks taking on, in this case, will be the Los Angeles Lakers. I think the Mavericks, the battle, the new versus the old, and I think the new is going to come through on this one. I think Luka's going to put on a performance, and I still just have so many questions about the Lakers' health. If you guarantee me they'll all be healthy, I'll reconsider this. But until that point, we'll have to wait and see. Right then, I have the Clippers here taking on the Golden State Warriors. Give me the Clippers in this one. The Warriors will kind of own that matchup since Steph Curry, and that kind of became a little rivalry. But it's a whole different Clippers. It's a healthy Clippers, and I think they're just absolutely loaded. And Tyronn Lue's a really good coach as well, too. So give me the Clippers there. Then in the 4-5 seed, the Grizzlies taking on the Suns. We have our first upset here, as I have quote-unquote upset. As I have the Suns as a 5 seed taking out the Memphis Grizzlies as well. I think the star power is a little bit too high, and I think this is right at that peak of Chris Paul before he kind of falls off in the next couple of rounds. So in the East, though, for the 1 seed, I have the Bucks easily taking out the Hawks. Number 2, I have the Brooklyn Nets taking on the Chicago Bulls. Same story. I think that's a potential 5-gamer. Cavaliers taking on the Boston Celtics. I think it's a very, very close matchup, but give me the Cavaliers in a close one. Then the Miami Heat taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. I think the Sixers get a little bit of revenge here, and I think they take out the Miami Heat. So just recapping quickly who I have advancing. I'll have the Nuggets taking on the Phoenix Suns, and we'll have the Mavericks taking on the Clippers in the West. Then we'll have the Bucks taking on the 76ers, and the Nets taking on the Cavaliers in the East. So moving on now to our semifinals in each conference. Kelsey, how do you have them playing out?
Yeah, so my matchups are Nuggets Mavs, and in that one I have the Mavs actually taking that one, the Mavericks advancing to the Western Conference Finals, and they'll face the winner of the Lakers Clippers, who I actually have as the Lakers. I do believe this is kind of that weird run we see from LeBron every couple years where he's like, all right, well, I'm going to will my team to the conference finals. That's just going to happen. Good luck, everybody else. So give me Mavs Lakers in the conference finals here for the Western side. For the Eastern side, I have Nets versus Bulls. I'm going to take the Nets in this one. Again, when they would decide to play it on their day, it's hard to beat the Nets anytime. And then Cavs Sixers here on the other matchup. I actually have the Cavs upsetting the Sixers in that one, and it's going to be a Nets Cavs Eastern Conference Finals.
All right, that's a very good one. I'll go through my West here really quickly. Nuggets taking on the Suns, and you know what? We got ourselves another upset here. Is I do think the Suns are going to upset the Nuggets. I think they have a little more firepower. And I do think the Nuggets, it's Jokic kind of wears down a little bit with the amount of minutes he plays. So give me the Suns pulling off an upset. A lot of turmoil in the regular season. By the time the playoffs comes around, I think they'll be the quote unquote same old Suns as the last couple of years. But I do think the Suns will take that one. Mavericks and the Clippers. Give me the Clippers in this one. Luka will get his, but the Clippers will lock down everybody else. It's the same thing every time they play. Luka gives Paul George and Kawhi the business, but nobody else can get involved, and eventually Luka's going to wear down. He can only carry the team on his back so much. So give me the Clippers versus Suns Western Conference Final. Now heading over to the East, we have the Bucks taking on the 76ers, a very close matchup, and honestly, I'm going to go with the Bucks in a razor close one because I think defensively they're a little more sound as well too. The 76ers really good, but I think they sometimes get a little erratic, and this is where I want to see, can James Harden get you that bucket without the fouls, that sort of thing? Can Joel Embiid continue to bang down low without getting hurt or without starting to fade away as well, too? Because you know the Bucks are going to bang down low. Giannis will be right in the middle of that, even though he's like the third big guy on the team. So give me the Bucks in a grueling series with the 76ers. The Brooklyn Nets taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think this is where the discourse finally starts to affect the Nets. And I think the Cavaliers will take them in a long, drawn-out firepower 7 games. They are a deep team. I think the battle of attrition here, they can win. And Jared Allen, you know he's going to come with a little something for them too.
Oh,
you know he's going to have a little something. And who on there is going to guard him necessarily? Kevin Durant, I mean, he's a really, really good defender and lengthy, but then Evan Mobley is going to get loose. So for the Eastern Conference, give me the Nets versus the Cavaliers, the Bucks versus the Cavaliers in a surprise. Then in the West, give me the Clippers versus the Suns. And as we run out of time, Kelsey, tell us who's going to the finals for you.
Yeah, so my matchup is Mavs versus Lakers here in the West. And as I've said, since, I'm tired of just disregarding Luka and all the things that he brings to the table. And I'm just going to continue riding with the Luka train because you know what? At this point in time, I've been wrong so many years in a row. Might as well be wrong in a blaze of glory. And I'm going to ride the Luka train into the finals here over the Lakers. This is where I finally see LeBron it shows his age a little bit more, shows that wear and tear that we've been waiting to see. It's not necessarily going to be an injury or anything. It's just going to be like he's going to be more reliant on Anthony Davis. And we've learned that maybe that's not the best person to be relying on unless you want to square up on somebody randomly just because. So that's my take on that, giving the Mavs taking the Western Conference as the Western representative here in the NBA Finals. And in the East, I have the Nets Cavs. And as much as I'd love to say it's a Cinderella story for the Cavs, it is not. It's the Nets. I'm sorry. Again, this is going to be the Nets and all the strength that is Kevin Durant. And, look, I can't get over Ben Simmons. If he plays and he's fully healthy, that man can guard 2 people at one time with his wingspan. And by that, if you don't understand what I mean, he can guard you and your passing lanes. So therefore, he cuts off any hope you have of getting around him with a pass, with any simple pass. Like it takes a beautiful skip pass, some kind of magic to get around him. So give me this one. I have the finals shaping up as the Mavericks versus the Nets.
All right, I'll go through this quickly. For mine, I have the Bucks taking on the Cavaliers as well. I don't quite have the young upstart team getting over that hump, though. I think this is where Giannis continues to show why he is arguably the best player in the world. I think Chris Middleton and squad's healthy. Give me the Bucks heading back to the finals with a win over the Cavs. Suns and the Clippers. The Sun will set in the Western Conference Finals, and I think the Clippers will finally get over that hump for the first time in franchise history. So we will have the Clips advancing to the NBA Finals to take on the Milwaukee Bucks. And I'll just go through mine quickly. In the finals, I have the Bucks taking on the Clippers. I think the Bucks will win. I think Giannis is going to put that stamp of it is my time right now on this one. And the Clippers are so snake bitten as a franchise. They would finally get to the finals in a game where Kawhi has shut down Giannis in the playoffs. He has his number, quote unquote, and then Giannis puts on a 50-point performance and to round it out or something ridiculous. So
and goes and orders another 50-piece from Chick-fil-A.
Exactly. So give me the Bucks and Giannis kind of reestablishing himself as that dude here in the finals with another MVP performance, and Chris Middleton still showing that he's not just anybody as well too. So give me the Bucks using their sizes in this game.
You know what? I respect that. I respect the Giannis stamping his mark, and I'm kind of trending in the same way here. As I said, this man I have overlooked for too long, and it is time to give him his just due. And if I'm going down in a blaze of glory. Going with the Mavericks and Mark Cuban and Luka Doncic to win the NBA title here. And Luka Doncic actually is going to be your finals MVP, because who else on this team is going to be the finals MVP? Let's be completely fair about that. Mm-hmm. Luka Doncic is going to have his moment in the glory. We're going to actually have that moment where the guy that might be one of the best players in the league finally gets to have his ring. And it's just because we have so much changeover every year, and there's so much discourse in other teams that this is, I think, the 1 year where he can have that special moment. And I think this is his year. I think Luka's going to take it to the finals. And despite some issues with that team, they can easily be filled out in the regular season, adding veterans. So give me the Mavericks winning it all. Luka Doncic and finals MVP.
Absolutely. All right. So we both have some upstart guys that have a lot of critics, but at the same time, absolutely ball nonetheless as well too. So just a quick recap. I have the Bucks versus the Clippers with Giannis winning another finals MVP. And then you have Luka Doncic and the Mavericks beating the Brooklyn Nets in the finals. So with Luka getting that finals MVP as well. And my question to you real quick before you wrap this up, if Luka does everything you predict he will do you take him over Giannis as the best player in the world? Or do you think that puts it? Because obviously that's going to put in that top 2 to 3 category at that point.
I don't even think he's the best player in the season. I think he's number 2, like he's 1B. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that in tip-off of next week. I'll say that the tip-off of next week will tell you a lot of what I'm thinking. I do think this season, the regular season especially, is going to be led a lot with Spencer Dinwiddie being a key player in this and getting the Mavericks to this point. I do think the playoffs is going to be a lot of Luka shows, which is why, 100%. Like, he put it on last year, and they progressed way further than anybody thought they would last year. Imagine he gets a little help, like a smidge of help, and give Spencer Dinwiddie. I think Spencer Dinwiddie has that opportunity as the sixth man this year to give him that help he needs. Obviously, Christian Wood as well, being a bigger offensive force into his game as well, and a bigger body. Really, just a big guy to score down low at this point in time would be fantastic. But don't be surprised if they're maybe a player in the DeAndre Ayton case. Maybe they bring in a big guy like DeAndre Ayton to play, throw it up ball with, and occasionally like, hey, DeAndre, come set a pick and roll for Luka. Luka, do a step back 3, or maybe, throw it up to DeAndre Ayton as he rolls to the basket. Like, take your pick.
I have a wild idea here for you real quick. I want to hear me out on this one. If this happens, the Mavericks make a deal for Jordan Poole because he demands a trade after all of this. So you're putting Jordan Poole on that team now without having to give up Christian Wood or Spencer Dinwiddie.
Jordan, go sit over in that corner right there. Once I give you the ball, do whatever you want with it. I don't care. But if I give you the ball and it's open,
you can take him.
If it's open, you either take him off the dribble or you shoot it. Take your pick. I don't care. You're not going to be wrong. You have an eternity green light in this situation. But you go stand in that corner, and as soon as this man sets the screen, either I'm passing you the ball or I'm shooting my step back 3. But one of us is shooting a ball. It's right here. It's a 2-man game with this guy setting a pick. I don't even care who this guy is anymore. Like, it's me and you.
It won't happen, but that's a fun thing to think about. And I'd say the same thing with the Bucks as well, too. It's like, all right, Giannis, you get on the block here. Poole, you set some off-ball screens with Chris Middleton. Have fun. It's not going to happen. I think
that's exactly what they were successful with in their championship year. Like, put Giannis off ball and then let Chris Middleton set a screen with another guard, and it's just fantastic to watch.
Oh, and Drew Holiday's still in the picture as well, too,
Yeah.
to lock people up and occasionally give you buckets. So that will do it for us here today. We will talk awards in the tip-off of next week's episode. We appreciate you all joining us. And once again, manscaped.com, use code HILOSPORTS, get yourself 20% off. Take care of your pair and get yourself some nice Christmas gifts for the special men in your life. We will see you all next week.